Renfield is a new horror comedy that released on Friday. This is a movie I was very excited for. Our friends were very excited for it. I don't know. It seemed like a really fun movie. I don't know. I don't have a lot more else to say on that point. I guess I was really excited to see it. It looked pretty funny. Um, the idea of Nick Cage as Dracula is something that always is going to have me on board. Yeah. And my only concern going into it was Chris McKay directing. He did make the Lego Batman movie, and I am a pretty big fan of that. But like the Tomorrow War and stuff like that, I feel like his style of direction can kind of get in the way of his movies and really make them worse than they have to be. And unfortunately, with Renfield, that like reared its ugly head the most in this movie. I feel like this is the movie that. Let's just get into it. So, I do have a lot of positives. I liked chunks of this movie. I loved Nicholas Hoult and Nick Cage. I thought they were both great. Nick Cage as Dracula was very funny, kind of terrifying at times. He could fly off the handle a lot. I thought his performance really fit the movie really well. And I feel like Nicholas Hoult played off of him very well. He was just kind of doing his normal shtick, but I think that worked in terms of comedy in this movie. I loved the goriness of it. I loved that it kind of went for, I don't know, it really went for it with the gore. Like, it went over the top, and that fit the style of this movie very well. I think it upped the comedy, it upped like the excitement factor of the movie, and when it's Nick Cage and Nicholas Hoult playing off of each other, when they're skewing more of a horror side in this movie, and then when it's like the really fun, gory action stuff, I'm really loving it. Like, it's a lot of fun. It's really there with the comedy, with the action, with the direction, with the writing. It's all clicking very well. But then they introduce Awkwafina's character into the movie, and that kind of ruins it. She is much more of an important part of this movie than really even Renfield is. Her story gets so much screen time, and so, I don't know, it eats up a lot of this movie, and it is really nothing. Like, it's really just a nothing storyline. It is a very by-the-numbers cop against a corrupt system, where the whole system's, against her, and there's this crime family, and it just doesn't work all that well. The guy who plays John Ralphio, he was funny enough in this movie, but he kind of got annoying towards the end. I don't really like Awkwafina all that much. I kind of find her to be really uncharismatic and unfunny. I don't know. Just her style of humor really doesn't work for me. Sometimes in a movie she's fine. I haven't seen The Farewell, which I've heard is really good. But in this movie she kind of, meh. She wasn't... She just really wasn't what the movie needed. I don't know why there was so much of a focus on her in particular. Why the B plot got so much screen time, and how unnecessary it all felt, and how underwritten it was. And by the end of the movie, it all just turned in this big cluttered mess. It got really unfunny. It really wasn't all that exciting anymore. It just was... I don't know. I feel like a lot of potential was really wasted in this movie. I think that I was loving it for the first act, and it just slowly, gave more screen time to Awkwafina's storyline, started veering more into that, and just giving us less of what we were promised with this movie, And I don't want to like bash on Awkwafina too much. Like, she was just doing her job in this movie and doing what she normally does. And I'm not going to, like, knock her for that just because I personally don't find her funny. But I think wherein lies the issues is the editing and the writing of this movie being really, really messy and really all over the place tonally and very much just not there. Like, I don't know why they made that decision. And it makes the movie a lot more boring than it had any right to be. Like, 50% of it is a really entertaining, fun horror comedy that really went for it with the gore, kind of went for it with the horror, with two really standout performances, and the other half is kind of this by-the-numbers action comedy that didn't need to be in this movie. Like, I don't know, Renfield is so frustrating because I saw the potential that I was liking it. It had a clear vision, I thought at first, and then it just kind of got ruined by a really messy script and some poor editing choices. Yeah, that's most of what I have to say. I didn't hate this movie at all. I'm probably not going to be on like my worst of the year list, but it left a bad taste in my mouth at the end of the movie, where I was just kind of, oh, that's what it was? Really? That's the kind of road they went down here? So I'm going to give Renfield a strong C. It was still fine for what it is, but I don't know. It could have been so much better. So yeah, that is my review for Renfield. I really can't wait for Evil Dead Rise that comes out next week. I'm praying to God that doesn't disappoint like this movie did. But yeah, other than that, I will see you guys in the next review.